Morning, guys. How is everyone? Let me know in the chats how everyone is doing. Happy Tuesday. I was going to say Thursday because we usually do these calls on a Thursday. Let me know how everyone is doing today. Morning, guys. How is everyone? Let me know in the chats how everyone is I doing. Am live streaming on YouTube. So this is my first time. I'm probably going to make mistakes. So I do apologize in advance if something goes wrong. But yeah, let me know in the chats how everyone is. Happy Tuesday morning. I hope you've all had a good Easter as well. Glad to hear, mate. Glad to hear. Who's tired? Probably tell by my voice, I am like half asleep. So, okay, perfect. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get straight into this. But yeah, I'm excited for this, guys. For the community that's on the Zoom. Obviously we have these obviously launch, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every morning, and then hopefully it probably will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So just starting out as 3 times a week, and then we'll go on to probably 5 times a week. I've also been working behind the scenes to create like a boot camp. Basically inside our new Telegram. So the bootcamp is going to be specifically for my strategy. So that you guys obviously understand that, I'm going to give my strategy on how I approach the markets, which is obviously how to utilize the level scanner as well. So which will be exciting. That will be launched after this call. Let me just let these people in. That'll be launched after this call, which I'm really, really excited about. And you guys who are experienced, you don't have to use the bootcamp. You guys who obviously may want to use a bootcamp, amazing, you can do. And I'll quickly cover that as well. Let me just quickly share my screen. Let me know if you guys can. Let me know on the Zoom if you can see my my screen or not. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I think you'd be able. I think you can. Yes. Okay. Amazing. So yeah, we're gonna have to do Telegram. I did start making a WhatsApp, but then I started to like upload videos and basically just could not upload like certain videos with the size. So the levels Telegram is going to be coming. It's going to be run by a couple of people, probably myself and maybe I'm hoping like Gemma and maybe a few others. But we want to keep this as active as possible. Obviously, we've got some experienced people who do this as well. We just got a general chat. We're going to have a take profit chart and then also a little boot camp in here for you guys to basically go over what is supply and demand, what is an imbalance, because this is my strategy, how to approach market structure, the patterns that I use, and then also tying it all together. So a lot of value, a lot of free value for you guys in there as well. And then we'll be adding more and more levels scanner bootcamp videos in there. But that's just going to be the start. So let me know if you guys are happy with that. We'll keep it basic. We don't need to have a million chats. Keep it very basic. Keep it to the point. But let me know in the chats if you guys are happy. Also, if you're on YouTube, I think there's 7 people currently watching. Welcome to this daily market outlook. It's the 22nd of April. I hope everyone is doing well. Good to see some familiar names in the chats. Also, I do apologize for the lack of posting. I know you guys are probably going to shout. But yeah, let me know in the chats, guys. Is everyone happy? Is everyone sweet? With I think pretty much yes. It looks sick, amazing, bro. Let me know that you guys happy. You guys not happy? If you're not happy, we can change it up, of course. Let me just know. Let me know. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Amazing. Okay. For the guys that are watching on YouTube, obviously, if you're wondering what this is, then of course understand that this is part of my community that we obviously have. So if you're interested in knowing more, feel free to reach out to myself. I know that quite a lot of you guys have reached out on YouTube for 1 second. Of course, for the scanner. So I will be getting back to you guys ASAP. I've just been busy. But okay, let's get straight into the markets. If you guys can, let me know if you can see the screen pretty clear. Put me in the chat, please. If you could just let me know on the Zoom call. Yep, okay, amazing. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Amazing. Perfect. Okay. Seems like everything's going well. Something's bound to go wrong. Something's bound to go wrong, surely. Okay, let's get into the daily market outlook. So, as always, starting out with the dollar. To be fair, guys, like if we just clear this up, like the dollar's been very trendy downwards. So there's not been much for me to obviously talk about with the dollar. As we know, we like pullbacks inside of the ranges so that we can look for the best possible entries. You know, when we do get these pullbacks, these are where we're looking for our supply zones. And then obviously in uptrend, we're looking for the demand zone. So the dollar's not really been giving too much away. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Let me know inside of the chats. So what we're obviously currently waiting for is just something to happen. If we drop down to the 4 hour and we focus on what's going on, same scenario here. If we look at the 4 hour time frame, you'll be able to notice that we're having mini pullbacks. We're not having full pullbacks that fill in the imbalance that we like. Here was very trendy. You know, we did meet the supply areas that was required. But for me personally, I was expecting some sort of pullback today to around this area here. This consolidation area is what we class as a supply zone. So you guys are going to learn that anyway. But the ones who don't know, what is a supply and demand zone? A supply zone is basically where if the market is consolidating at a certain area, it usually likes to manipulate and then we get a movement. Once we get that movement, the market usually and the institutions usually like to come back into this area as a supply, collect the orders, and then carry this on. So that is where we get the supply and demand zones from. And it usually likes to carry on from here. So as you guys can see, same scenario, we've got the consolidation and then we've got this breakout. The breakout's left imbalance, so we would want to usually see the market retrace into this 4 hour supply and then carry this trend on downwards. Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. But as you guys can see, if it's on YouTube, if it's on the Zoom call, you guys can see that we haven't quite had that pullback yet. And we currently are, you know, looking at further downwards momentum. So obviously what we're wanting to wait for is some sort of confirmation. Right now, personally speaking for myself, I'm not looking to just sell from like here right now because, you know, I have confirmations that I want to be met. So if we've not had that full pullback that I would like to see to sell from, then of course I'm not interested unless we get a new movement down and then this becomes our lower high and then this will become our lower low. And obviously you guys are probably thinking it may be new. Why are you talking about the dollar? The dollar is the most important asset inside of the financial markets. It has the most liquid inside of the financial markets, which means it controls the majority of the market. So again, if you don't understand what the dollar is doing, you will never become a success inside of trading. So with that being said, first thing I'm going to show you guys is from the top of this range to the bottom of this range, you know, at least 50% of the, at least 50% is what I like to see met. So if you guys look, we have not come above the 50%. So for me personally, even from this range, let's say from here, we still haven't come above that 50%. So for me, that's why right now I'm just not interested in pretty much the dollar and the major pairs, if I'm being totally honest. But just put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't and you're in the community, you'll start to probably see how I approach the markets via them videos. So looking at, let me just get the nice up. Amazing. Looking at the major pairs, you'll be able to notice that Euro USD is pretty much in a similar position. You know, Euro USD, GBP USD are pretty much in a similar position where we've just been very bullish. You know, it's not been clear, you know, higher lows, high highs like we usually like. It's just been straight bullishness, which for me can be a bit more complicated to trade. It can be easier to trade, of course, sometimes, but for me, I like to have my confirmations met. So we're looking at where we're currently at for Euro USD. Let's start off with. You'll be able to see that starting off on a daily time frame, what's going on. Well, on a daily time frame, I would wanted to see this area met where this imbalance is. I want to see this area met here, this candle for our daily demand. Now, we didn't quite get that daily demand candle, but what did we get? We had this pullback, and then we had another break of structure. We had another high printed. So we have a new range from this daily higher low to this daily higher high. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can see that. Let me know if you guys can see that where the pullback was and then where we printed a new daily high. Let me know in the chats. Yeah, amazing. Okay, clear. So with that being said, as we know, and as I teach, you know, once we get that pullback, we expect the market, that's our range from this higher low to this higher high. We expect the market in the lower time frames to eventually trend downwards into a daily demand And then that's where we want to see the next leg go and print a new daily higher high. So with this being said, eventually I would like to see a little market change of trend into probably this candle here to go and print a new high. But again, we've got to be patient and we've got to wait. So first thing I want to notice is, can I spot my daily demand candle? Well, my daily demand candle would be this last candle here. This last candle is my daily demand. Why? This is where the markets will usually like to come back into. Well, this last candle was the last sell candle before this movement up that broke structure. That is very, very key for you guys to understand. This candle was the last sell candle before this movement up that broke the previous higher high. So that is a valid area where the institutions who control the markets would basically like to see the markets come back into. So this is where I'm expecting the market can go to. If I go to Euro USD on levels, let's do the same confirmation. Let's go to the daily time frame. We've got the same range here. This is our higher low. This is our higher high. We can mark that out if you guys want. Oh, I've clicked the wrong one. So higher high and higher low. And all I'm going to do is that is my range. As we have just noticed, I'm going to click bulls. Once bulls comes up, this will give me a demand area for buys. If I click bears, it's going to give me a supply area for sells. So how amazing is this for the ones who are watching that are completely new? How amazing is it that me or the people in our community or you guys on here who were unsure on where the market can come back into supply and demand wise, you guys can get access to a scanner where you literally have you click a button and it will bring up a valid demand or supply area. So with that being said, as you guys are watching on the Zoom, this is where I expect the market to come back into on a daily time frame. So what I would do personally is I would mark this out. I would mark this out and I would keep that there. That would be my daily demand candle. So let's make that black. That's my daily demand candle. Now, if I drop down to the 4, this is where I can start to see if I can refine the area. So every time I look for a demand area, guys, I always look for a daily demand and then I want to see a 4-hour demand inside that area. Let me know in the Zoom chat if that makes sense. Also, let me know on YouTube if that makes sense as well. I want to see a demand chart. I want to see a daily demand area. And then I want to see a 4-hour demand area inside that daily demand area. Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. So looking at this is my daily demand. I'm going to click bulls again. And then I'm going to see if this brings me a demand area. So if you look at this currently, what can we see? Well, we can see that it's give this last sell candle as our 4-hour demand. So guess what? If I'm happy with that, I'm also going to make that my demand candle. I'm going to put it down to the wick here. And I'm going to have this as my 4-hour demand. So guess what that does? That gives me that gives me something to go off. That gives me a reason to go, okay, instead of buying from the top of this daily demand, I'm actually going to look for the 4-hour demand area to be met. And again, you can simply keep this up. Now, you guys who are on here, you can simply set buy limits, sell limits from the top of the box. You can either have your stop loss below the low of the candle, or you can obviously have it below the low of the bigger range. And you can simply set your buy limit from there. You can aim for your 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, or aim for the top of this range, whatever it may be for you guys. Now on there, that's one option. This is a small demand area. So again, I would buy from the top of this box. Or if the box is a bit bigger, I would go from the middle of the box, which gives me a better risk reward. Guys, let me know in the inside of the chat if that makes sense. So Euro USD, even though it's not as clean as I would like, this is where I want to see the markets coming to. Let me know inside of the chats on Zoom, guys, if you guys understand. Amazing, appreciate that. Okay, so Euro USD, we're expecting the market to pull back into this area and then go from there. And it'll be pretty much the same for GBP USD. Whereas GBP USD is not as clean, so I'm actually not going to cover GBP USD because is not as even nice on the 4 hour. If we look at this, it's not as nice. The 4 hour, it is similar. We've got this range from this low to this high. That is my 4 hour range. So again, if I'm unsure and I go to GBP USD, same scenario. I can mark out on this scanner where my low is, where my high is, and then I can see it's bullish. I can click bulls. Okay, this is giving me this area to buy from, which would be this area here. So again, something to leverage from. If you guys want to obviously utilize that, you can do. That is an idea from here. Again, understand, do you want to put your stop loss below the low of this? Do you want to give yourself some wiggle room? Do you want to go to the edge of this box? And obviously you guys can aim as well for either your 1 to 2s or 1 to 3s for GBP USD. So again, this is where the levels, when would you enter, Leon, like market trade or when it comes back? No, so Haley, this is all buy limits and sell limits. So basically you can literally, if you can understand how to like market structure, for instance, and you understand, okay, this is my range, meaning this is where my higher low is, this is where my higher high is. If you can understand that and you click bulls, for instance, for buys, all you have to simply do is set a buy limit. Or if it's for sells, you set a sell limit. It only goes invalid, let's say, if the market, let's say the market, let's say the market pulls back, misses your entry, and then goes and prints a new higher high. You'll obviously have like a new range. This will be your new higher low. This will be your new higher high. And when you click bulls, this should be a new demand area. Let me know if that makes sense, mate. So yeah, GBP USD and Euro USD, pretty much similar on there. What else have we got for major pairs? AUD USD, not as looking as nice. NZ's looking pretty decent, but we are printing a new high again. This is just trending like a mother effer. But as you guys can see, let's look at this. So if we look at this right now, you can see that from a daily time frame, we're very bullish. Very bullish. We've not really had a pullback, just straight up bullish. So I'm going to go to the 4 hour. I'm going to see the trend that we're in. When we look at the trend that we're in on the 4, you can see that higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, where they've been come down into demand area with imbalance, printed a new high, broken this previous high. This is my higher low. This is my higher high. So I would expect the market to fill this demand area, this imbalance in here, meet this demand area and go and print a new higher high. So all I'm going to do is quickly go to the level scanner. I'm going to see if this gives the same area. So as you guys can see, same scenario here. It's give 2 demand areas you can buy from. You can buy from this area or you can buy from this area. Me personally, maybe it doesn't happen. I would prefer to wait for this area to buy from. The reason for that would be because of this imbalance here and maybe using this as liquidity. So you guys who know smart money, again, let's just say you put a 25 pip stop. You can put 25, you can put whatever it may be, you can have it bigger. You guys have that independent trading. But let's say you aim for this and you want it to be this demand. I would like this one because I think that could be used as liquidity. Again, aim for your 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, or just a high of this here to complete a new high. So yeah, NZUSD for me is looking pretty clean. Imbalance, could use this as liquidity to move up. By the way, if anyone's on this Zoom and anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. If you do have any questions or not, do let me know. But yeah, NZUSD, I like the look of. If you guys want to trade NZUSD from both zones, feel free to do so. If you're happy to risk whatever you risk on your account, let's say 0.5 or 1%, then obviously feel free to, again, also, maybe even take this trade idea, which is on here. I personally won't, but again, if you guys want to, feel free to do that. It is a valid demand area. So we just set in limit orders from the board. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Like if anyone's on here, for instance, like Lucy Smith, Michaela, anyone on here, especially like Lucy put in something the other day. Lucy, let me know inside of the chat or let Haley know. Like obviously you're a busy mum, who obviously doesn't have time to basically sit on the chats, and you know Lucy's absolutely killing levels. I don't think who else is on here. Maybe I missed someone, but Lucy can give you a little insight into that as well. Haley, mate. So. Very, very simple. But yeah, either at the top of the box or again for better risk to reward, you can go from the middle of the box, which is the line in here. So again, two trade ideas that you guys can potentially look out for NZUSD. USD CAD, I missed this trade yesterday, which I'm pretty gutted about. But as you guys can see, if we follow the trend that's happening on the 4, you can see that we had this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So for me, my range is from this lower high to this lower low. Hopefully you guys like let me know in the chat if you guys are also following, you know, the understanding of when I say range, like this is my range. When I say this is my range, all I'm referring to is if the market's printed a new lower low, and you can see our previous lower high, this just means that this area becomes my range. I'm only interested in looking for sells in between, anywhere in between this area. Hopefully that makes sense for the ones who possibly don't understand. So for me, like this is my range from this lower high to this lower low. I'm not interested in selling from any of these areas. It lowers it down for me to understand that this is my range. Hopefully that makes sense on the call. But yeah, looking at this currently, you can see that this played out beautifully, and we can have a look at levels to see if it gave the same area. But yeah, consolidation, we had a breakout, we had some imbalance, the market comes back into this supply area, and then obviously is now melted away. If we go over to USD CAD, let's have a look. So if you look at USD CAD, same scenario on the 4-hour, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Once I can see the range from here to here, I can click bears. And as you guys can see, that is levels to AT. Gives you a supply area. Two options that you have are simply you set from the top of the box with your stop loss above the high. You either aim for whatever it is that you're happy with. Let's say it's the bottom of this. And you can see that obviously it would have been currently doing a 1 to 2. It would have done a 1 to 2. But let me know in the chat, guys. Can you guys see how clear that is with the scanner? You understand what market structure is. You understand what range you're in. From there, if you're in sells, you click bears. If you're in buys, you're looking for buys, you click bulls. So this is one entry model. And then the second entry model is simply the top of the box. So if you look at this scenario, if we would have gone for the middle of the box, you guys can see that's a better risk to reward. But can you guys see, let me know in the chat, the fact that we only would have got triggered into entry 1 model, not entry 2 model. It didn't hit the 50%. Let me know inside of the chat if you guys understand. Just put a Y, put a yes. Okay, amazing. So again, what I always advise people is, and you guys can figure this out, you either enter just one trade with entry model 1 or entry model 2, or you can enter a split risk. So let's say that you risk 1% per trade. Instead of risking 1% on one trade, you can split it and go 0.5% on this trade, 0.5% on that trade. So then you're in 2 trades, you know, risking the same amount. And obviously from there, you guys understand that. Let's say this one triggers, at least you still get you're still in profit. Whereas this one, yeah, you might not have triggered, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Amazing, amazing. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's have a look quickly to see if we can get a little pullback. So 2 hours not giving out. So if you look on here, so this is entry from the 4-hour. I've just gone on to the 1 hour time frame to see if we can get a re-entry. So if you look at this scenario, the market has obviously had a lot of movement down. We've got this imbalance here. It's give us this supply area here. So what I'd be looking for now is if the market, me personally, I'm going to go middle of this box. No, actually, sorry, ignore me. I'm going to go to this part here where the blue line is. And you guys can also, if you want to, feel free as independent traders, you can put your stop loss above the high. And this would be a great re-entry opportunity, potentially. Because I'm expecting the market to pull back to fill in this imbalance here. And then potentially go and create that new lower low. So again, hoping it doesn't pull back. Let's hope it doesn't pull back, bro. But yeah, this is one thing you will learn with obviously the strategy, Craig, as well, is you'll start to become more comfortable in understanding that the market, what I always say to people is the market is always looking to rebalance itself and seek liquidity. So a rebalance scenario is imbalance. If you can see imbalance in a market, one thing I always look at is if the market is, coming back and I can see imbalance, I'm calm, bro, because I'm knowing that, okay, it's probably looking just to rebalance this market and then potentially just carry on from down there. So again, that's just something that maybe you could take on as well. But yeah, let's see if we can get that from USD CAD, which is pretty clean, which I would potentially have this area here. Okay, USD CHF, USD Swiss franc. I do like this area. I'm not too sure if we're going to get it. If we look at USD CHF, it's pretty much give the same scenario. So if you look, you can see, let me get rid of that. You guys can see that if we follow the trend, we had consolidation and we had this breakout. So with this breakout, my range comes from this high to this low. So again, simply, can I see a supply zone that's above the 50%? Above the 50%, I've got the supply zone. So if I go to levels, USD CHF, same scenario, we've got this high here. And then we've got this low here, which is what broke this trend. And I'm going to click bears. Yep, same scenario. So as you guys can see, with USD CHF, we've got imbalance here, and the market is potentially going to come up into this and then hopefully carry on down here to create that new leg. So again, USD CHF, that could be a good trade idea. Which I'll be looking for. And I'll be sending all these as well into our new levels chat as well. But yeah, that'll be a trade idea that you guys can potentially look out for on there. But again, the good thing is what I'll be waiting for on the 1 hour is if the market could potentially break above this high. So let's say the market breaks above this high, and then we get this. You could then even look for a bull scenario for a 1 hour perspective to see if you can buy this into this sell. If you can buy into this sell. So that could be a potential area that we can keep an eye on in the levels chat. Michaela's always on it. Michaela always has the picks. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So that is a scenario for USD CHF. Let's see what else we got. You got USD Japanese yen, which is the major pairs. Again, you can see we're very trendy right now. We're not getting that pullback. But if we look at this scenario, I have this daily supply area here. If we don't meet this, this is just printed a new supply zone here. So again, that would be my 4 hour range from this high to this low. We've also, what did I say to you guys at the beginning of this call? Michelle, I've not launched it yet. It's basically going to be launched from this call. So I will send it into, in fact, I'll send it in at the end of this call into the chat, and then we'll send it in to, or message me. If you need the link, just message me on Instagram or WhatsApp, and then I'll send it over as well. But yeah, as you guys can see, We've just put in a new supply zone. What did I say at the beginning of this video on this call? A supply zone is when the market consolidates. We usually manipulate the top. So early sellers, we manipulate their stop loss, and then we go and get that momentum. What's this scenario here? Consolidation. This wick has gone above this, which means that it's collected the liquidity. Anyone that's got in early sellers here, they've been stomped out, and then we get the movement away. So now what the market will usually like to do is rebalance and then move away from there. Let me know in the chats, put a 1 or put a Y if that makes sense in the chat. Same scenario, consolidation, manipulation, which is this wick up here, and then obviously the movement down. Perfect. And then the market will rebalance this market into the supply and then carry on. So let's have a look at USD Japanese yen. Yeah, you can see if we focus quickly on where we're currently at. So we have the daily range, which I think the daily range is from here. By the way, if anyone's not on their phone on the Zoom call, could you just do me a massive favor and go over to my YouTube channel to see if this is even streaming, because I don't have a clue if it's even streaming, man. If someone could just do me a massive favor and then let me know in the chat. For some reason I just got to fit that I ain't even streaming, but it is what it is. People watching a blank screen. Oh, is it? Oh, amazing. Shit. Yes, YouTube. Nice one, Lucy. I didn't even know. Appreciate that. I thought it would just stop, so just carried on. Amazing. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Lucy. But yeah, if you look at this right now, you can see that we have obviously this from this high. This is our range that we're in from the fall. I want to see the market pull back into this supply area here, which is where this imbalance is just below. And we haven't quite got that one, but we've had another pullback. So all I'm going to simply do, if I'm unsure what to do right now, I'm going to click bears. Okay, amazing. Appreciate that. So I'm going to click bears, and this is going to bring up my supply zone. So guess what? I have two options now. I have two options to go, okay, it's giving me a supply zone here. It's giving me a supply zone there. I either choose one that I'm happy with. For instance, if you think this is going to be used as liquidity and we're going to rebalance this, go for the top one. If you guys are going, okay, do you know what? I'm busy, I'm at work, whatever it may be, I've got a trading plan that I can stick to. I'm happy with entering both trades. And if I enter both trades and I have a stop loss on this one, let's say I have a stop loss on this, it is what it is. If I have a stop loss on this but then this one comes in, amazing. Because that's the beauty of trading, guys, and that's when you start to understand that, okay, if I do have a stop loss, if I do want to, do both of these trade ideas, for instance, and let's say I have a stop loss on, let's say I have a stop loss on the first one, and then I have, let's say you get a stop loss on here, but then let's say that you have a TP on this one. Let's say you have a 1 to 3 on this, you're risking 1% to gain 3%, but then you have a 1% loss on here. Guess what? It's all good, man, because you're still plus 2%. You're still plus 2%. So again, if you guys feel like you want to enter this trade because you like the look of it, enter the trade. Enter the trade if you guys want to on your own responsibility, and be happy with understanding that if it's a loss, it's fine because I met my strategy. This level scanner has given me my supply zone. If it's giving me a supply zone, it's a valid supply zone. So that's the way that I would look at that. Let me know, put a Y in the chat if that makes sense. But yeah, these two for USD Japanese yen, you can either go from the edge of the box, like I say, or for better risk to reward. I like this imbalance. Can you guys see? And this is where experience can come in. Can you see where this imbalance starts? Where this wick starts here to this candle's wick here. Can you see how we've got this gap? This wick doesn't meet this wick. We've got imbalance. So I personally, instead of going half of the box, I would go from the start of that imbalance. Let me know if that makes sense. I would go from the start of that imbalance just for a bit of a better risk to reward. Yeah, you can enter in the middle of the zone. I think I just answered that as well. Me personally, with experience, this imbalance here is where I'll be looking at. But if you want to, you can enter from the middle of the zone for a better risk to reward, of course. And you guys will start to experience like what works best, what doesn't work best, basically for you guys who are in the community as well. Okay, guys, let me know inside the chat. We've covered all major pairs. We've covered all the major pairs. Let me know if you guys want me to cover a few of the cross pairs, or if you guys are happy with just the majors. Let me know in the chat. Put cross pairs if you want me to cover some of the cross pairs, or if you guys want to jump off, feel free to jump off as we've gone over the majors. I know that not all cross pairs are on levels, so let me know if you can inside of the chat. Cross. Okay, amazing. As long as one person says cross, me and Craig are going to stay on. Amazing. Okay, so starting off, I've just marked out a couple that I'm looking at. And I'm going to go to the daily time frame first, as always. So we're looking at AUD Japanese yen. So AUD Japanese yen, can you guys see where we have our market structure from a daily? Can you guys see how, if we focus on this pullback, for instance, we've got a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Can you guys see that our daily range? Put a Y in the chat if you guys can see that. So we've got a clear daily time frame range. So from there, can I identify, first question, can I identify my daily supply candle? Okay, my daily supply candle is here. Guess what I can do? I can go over to levels. I can go to AUD Japanese yen, and I can get confirmation. This is the beauty of this scanner. If I'm unsure, I can go to the scanner on AUD Japanese yen. I can mark out my daily range, which is what I always do first. And I can go, okay, do I have a supply candle? Boom, straight away. This is brought up my daily supply candle. Same as this. This last candle is a valid daily supply. So that gives me confidence going, okay, if we're bullish on the 4 hour, we're most likely only going to be bullish until this supply candle. Now I can get out my trade and I can make a decision if I want to see if we're going to carry this trend on downwards and sell from here. Put a Y again if that makes sense. So that gives me confidence. Daily is selling. So daily selling. I've got a daily supply. Okay, let's see what the 4 hours now doing. So I'm going to drop down to the 4. And as you guys can see, we went from a 4 hour downtrend. We had a pullback, 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 failed to create a new lower low, and we had this big movement up. Now, I'm still waiting for this daily demand candle. We've not broken above this high fully. So I'm still waiting for this daily demand candle. So for me, I'm going to go to levels. I'm going to drop to the 4. And I'm going to see if this can help me out to see if there's any demand candles that this, yep, same scenario. So for me personally, I want to see AUD Japanese yen come into here and then carry on upwards from there. So that will be my next trade idea for AUD Japanese yen. Again, look how the beauty of this is. You will, again, for the ones who are completely new, you're going to get access to it's not a mini boot camp. It's, for me, I think it's an unbelievable small boot camp. I've not put every single video, but it's my strategy, how I approach the markets and how you can utilize levels through the strategy. So again, bulls, this is what I'd be interested in buying from. And if, let's say we can get that, the scenario would be you either enter from the top of the box or the edge of the box, like always. So let's say you go from the top of this box. Let's say you put your stop loss below the low, and then you can sell into that daily supply zone, remember. So the daily supply zone starts here. So you can sell as a minimum into that supply zone as a 1 to 4. Sorry, buy into that supply zone, which starts here. So hopefully you guys understand, but we'll keep a track of this as well inside our chat, and we'll keep on top of, you know, everything that's going on. But that's what I'm looking at for AUD Japanese yen. CHF Japanese yen, let's look at the daily time frame. If you look at the daily, we had this pullback and then this break above. So my range from the daily is this low to this high. If we quickly just go to CHF JPY and we focus on where the market is currently at, well, we have this low to this high. And again, same scenario. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click bulls. So as you guys can see, the market hasn't given me a demand area on levels on CHFJPY. So if I'm inexperienced, guess what I can do? Let me know inside the chats. If I'm inexperienced and I thought a demand area would be given here, do you think I should trade this as a buy if there's not a demand area? So let's say if I'm inexperienced and I wanted a demand area here from this range, should I still trade this if the level scanner hasn't given me confirmation? Let me know in the chat. Let me know inside of the chat. Should I trade it, put a Y? Should I not trade it? If you're unsure, don't worry. But if I'm inexperienced and I'm using levels, I won't trade. If it's not giving me a demand area, yeah, exactly, Haley, exactly, bro, Craig. If it's not in my range from this low, higher low to this higher high, I'm not going to take the trade. Okay, leave it. But the beauty about this is, if this is the bullish range, let's see if we've got any sell scenarios. Okay, so you can see that this is, if you focus on this, what I always tell people, and what you guys are going to learn from me, is understand what your higher time frame is doing. If your higher time frame is like this, and I say this every single time, understand with inside that 4 hour and daily demand, that daily trend, there's a 1 hour trend happening. A 1 hour, sometimes in a 4 hour trend. So understand that when the daily or the 4 hours like this, and you want to see a pullback, eventually we've got to see a market, shift into a downtrend from an uptrend to a downtrend. And we've got to learn look for sells. Do you guys understand that? Let me know. Selling into the higher time frame demand. Let me know in the chat. So right now, if you focus on this, we will have a 1 hour uptrend. Right now, you can see that the market is now moving down. So what I'm looking at is, if I click bears, my next sell area, and this is a valid sell, is focus on the trend at this high, lower, low. We come back up, lower high, lower low. We now come back up, lower high, and we're now putting in a new lower low. So my new range from this area for sells is also this high to this low, because we're now getting a valid, if we've got 2 hours left, if this candle can finish below this wick, amazing. If it does, that's a break of structure, and we get a trade idea, or we can look to sell from this area. We can look to sell from this area as well. So again, we'll talk about that inside the chat. Let me just quickly go to the chat. What time frame do you mainly use? Yeah, so for the newest people, I always say daily 4 hour and 1 hour. Mainly looking for 4 hour and 1 hour setups. I don't want to overcomplicate. I always say to people on here, I don't want to overcomplicate, so I keep it very simple. Ignore the lower time frames. Get focus on the higher time frames and get profitable. And then once you're experienced, you can go down to the lower time frame. So 4 hours like the key buying and selling zones. So okay, so this is CHFJPY. Let's flick through and have a look at any more. In fact, let's mark this out. Yep, same scenario. Okay. And just quickly, if you look, I've got a 4 hour demand area here in the daily, which didn't show on the level scanner. But I know from experience that if we look for, and let's say we get a new sell from this CHFJPY 4 hour supply, I can look to basically, as a minimum, sell into this, either this demand or into this demand here. So again, I'll probably just take a 1 to 3. But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on that today as well. We have Euro AUD. Let's see if she can Euro AUD. Euro AUD. Okay. I don't really like Euro USD, Euro AUD to be fair as much. But if we look at the daily, what can we expect? Well, we've got this range, so I want to see this demand area met. So first thing, daily time frame, what's it saying? Daily is giving me the same scenario. So we expect the market to pull back on in here. So that tells me that we could see lower time frame movement to this area. So again, from this low to this high, drop to the 4. Yeah, I'm gonna keep Euro AUD for now until we get this area. I'm not interested in looking for this sell area here. Let's move on to the next. Euro NZ. Okay, Euro NZ, if you look at where we're currently at, we've got this higher low, this higher high. We've got this daily demand candle here. And then we look at the 4-hour. You can see that the market is trending downwards on the 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Euro NZ if we can find it. I'm going to go to the daily time frame. No worries, Samantha, mate. Have an amazing day. We'll catch up in the chat. So as you guys can see, the range from this higher low to this higher high. I'm going to click bulls and it's giving me this demand area. So that is my daily demand where I'm looking for my next buy. So that's where I'm looking for my next buy scenario. So now I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame. And I know that I can potentially look for sells into this area and then look for buys. So 4-hour, you can see we've got a clear, downwards trend happening. If I click bears, and you'll be able to see that it gives me supply areas that I could potentially sell from. So from a 4-hour perspective, we've not reached this supply zone just yet. So again, set on your hands and wait. Let me just have a quick look. The 1 hour has been given because I did like this supply. From here, let me just see the 2. Yeah, okay. Nothing clear just yet. But yeah, buying scenario. If we click bulls, you can see it's brought up, a couple of demand areas for Euro NZ. Let's see what else we've got. Nearly finished anyway now, guys. We're just going to be patient. Look at the state of that. Guys, look at the state of that. That is disgusting. Anyway, let's see. We've got this 4-hour demand area, which we are moving away from. But, I mean, guys, let me know in the chat. Do you think we should trade this? Let me know inside the chat. Do you think we should trade this this pair, the way it looks? Put an N, put a no, put a Y, if you think so. No, yeah, exactly. For me personally, even though it's met this demand area, I'm going to wait and see if we can get some sort of like punch above. If we can get like a big punch above and it's clear, then we can potentially look for a pullback to buy from like an area like this. But until then, we get consolidation. If we can get a big impulse, I'll look for that. But as of right now, I'm not interested in GBP AUD. Let's see if GBP AUD came up on here though. So GBP AUD is pretty much the same on here. But yeah, let's be patient with that. What else have we got? We've got GBP CHF. Okay, this could be interesting potentially. So GBP CHF, obviously, if you look at the daily time frame, we've got a lot of imbalance. We had a lot of movement, so a lot of imbalance to fill. We had a mini pullback on the 4-hour and then a break. So let's focus mainly on the 4 because I'm not interested in looking at this area until we get a change of trend on the 4. Because if we don't get that change of trend, you can see that the market is just selling. And we're in this range. We're in from this lower high to this lower low. Unless we get a break above, I'm not interested in buying this up into this area. So this is my 4-hour range from here to here. I've got a 4-hour supply. We're filling in this imbalance. Let's see if we can get a confirmation on here. GBP CHF. I'm not too sure we do actually have GBP CHF on here. Let's have a look. I don't think we do actually. No, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. No, we don't have GBP CHF on there, so let's leave that one out. We have Great British Pound, Japanese yen. I'm not really too much interested in that right now. We're in NZ CAD. NZ CAD, let's have a look. So NZ CAD, if we look at the daily time frame, what can we see? Well, we can see that this is the lower high, this is the lower low. We're very bullish, of course, so we've got to play that in mind, but we're in a daily and 4-hour supply area. So do we have NZ CAD on here? Please tell me we do. If not, we riot. NZ CAD, yes. Okay, so daily, let's see if it brings a supply area or not. So it's not giving me a valid supply area on a daily. What about on the 4? Okay, so 4 hours give me a supply area from here. So this is telling me, even though we're very bullish, this could be the potential area where the market could now have the momentum downwards. So if we was to carry on downwards, this is where we could potentially get that change of trend to then go and create a new lower low. So that is my first thought. But if you look at where we're currently at, yes, we're in this 4-hour supply. But if we look at the 4-hour trend, are we in an uptrend or are we in a downtrend for the 4-hour? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Are we in a 4-hour uptrend or 4-hour downtrend? Put uptrend or put downtrend for what you guys think. Let me know in the chat. And by the way, if you say it wrong, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, exactly. So we're in a uptrend. So what does that mean for me? Well, okay, I'm not interested right now in looking for any sort of sells from here unless we break this low. So let's say the market comes down, breaks this low. I would now, that would be confirmation that this supply area is in control and we can look to sell this downwards. But as of right now, my next demand area would be from this area here. This is my next 4-hour demand candle, because this 4-hour demand candle, sorry, this 4-hour area met this 4-hour demand candle here. So let's go to levels and see if we can look for, let's mark out this range actually from this high to this low. We can mark out this supply candle. Okay, and then let's focus on, so we're in this supply. Now let's focus on the 4-hour trend, which is from this low to this high. I'm going to click bulls. And as you guys can see, the market has given this candle here. So from this top of this range, you can put your stop loss below either this low or that low here. Let's say we cover this low. And we can obviously look to buy this upwards from there. If you guys notice, we have some imbalance here. That's why my demand area is starting here. So for me personally, that looks like a better trade idea for me. But again, if we're going off levels, it's giving this demand candle here. So that is, again, a potential idea for you guys to take a look at. NZ CAD. And then let's look at the last one. We're almost done, which is, I know we've been on for an hour, but again, I want to give you guys as much value as possible. We're in NZ Japanese yen. Let's look at this quickly on here. Asia, NZ Japanese yen. And then we're going to quickly just look at the bears. Okay, so as you guys can see, it's give this supply area, which we're currently at. Let's look at the daily actually. The daily time frame. There we go. So same scenario. We've got this daily range from this high to this low. This is our daily supply candle here, which means that this is where we're looking for the market to basically now react from and carry on downwards. This area here. This is my high. This is my low, lower low on the daily. So let's drop down to the 4. And as you guys can see right now, what's happening on the 4-hour? What's happening on the 4-hour inside of this demand candle? Let me know. What's happening? Are we consolidating? Yes. What does that mean? That means that demand and supply are basically battling it out. So demand and supply are battling it out. One's going to eventually take control. So that means eventually we're going to see, and this is where patience comes in, we're going to either see a break above and then a break above, where then we can look for buys, or we're going to see a break, let's say we consolidate, a break below these lows, and then we can look for selling. So again, you know, a little bit of patience, but if we can get that break, let's say we could break this low or this low here, then that would give me confidence of looking for a supply area to sell from. So yeah, let's see how that plays out today or this week. I think that could be a decent setup, to be quite honest with you guys, which we'll keep an eye on. But we're reacting. Let's wait for some confirmations. But yeah, let me know inside of our chat if you guys got some value. You'll probably go through a little bit of my bootcamp today, hopefully, if you want to, and get some more value from that. Do let me know inside the chat if you guys did get some value. If you enjoyed it, obviously I'm going to do this 3 times a week. It probably will get shorter. I know it's been on an hour, but I'm just doing this for you guys to get as much value as possible. So when the pairs are in consolidation, we just wait till it breaks. Yeah, I do personally, Haley, because when it's consolidating, what it's basically telling me anyway is supply and demand zones. Supply and demand is like battling it out. So obviously either one is going to take control. So let's say demand takes control and we go bullish, then we can expect them to carry on bullish. If we get bearish, we can expect the market to carry on bearish. But yeah, let me know in the chat if anyone's still listening, if you guys enjoyed it, if you guys got some value. And yes, okay, amazing, perfect. Amazing. Okay, as always, guys, I appreciate every single person. Let me just quickly send a link in actually for you guys to join from this call, if I can. Where the hell is it? Invite link, copy link. Okay. 1 second, 1 second. I'm going to send a link into the levels. Yeah, let me know. You guys should be able to join that now. And then obviously we will carry on chatting on there. I will keep this Zoom on for the next couple of minutes for you guys to join, and then I will end it. So other than that, take care and we will catch up soon as well.